Okay, so let's have a look at this paper 2 from the 2023 April for the spring season. First, you got this is the DNA, that's good. Then on the second question, we can see that the eagle fits on the shrews, and if the eagle from far above, if it's easier for it to spot any shrew, then it can catch it and eat it, right? So based on this, you can see that they try to color the soil, the background is a dark color. So which one can be easier to be noticed and be caught? That should be the white one, right? So that's why you can see that in year 1 and in year 2, after 1 year, the populations of the white have decreased. We can see that there are more of the dark and there are less of the white. So the pattern will keep going on for the year 3. We should expect less of the white here and more of the dark here. That's why for the next question, they also mentioned this one as you have highlighted the keyword, the total population size the same. That's why we should have all of them added to be 5 as like what we try to demonstrate here. 5 just because the ratio is at 4 to 1. This is at the ratio like 3 white to the 2 dark. So what is the ratio here to make it like total as 5? We should have less of this. So less of this can be going from 3 here to be either 2, either 1 or 0. And then from there you can find the rest of the right one as long as they added to be like 3. You can see here 2 plus 3 make it 5, right? 1 and 4 make it also 5 or 0, and 5 also make it to be 5. That's what it means by the total population size to be the same. Yes, so here you have make a guess this one as 0, and you got this one kind of mistakenly, because I think that at first you thought that there's a no try in here, that's why you just have like 0 and 0. But basically if you read the question closer, you can see that they ask you to predict. So if they ask you to predict something, it also means that you don't have the information about it. So that's why we need to like predict it and write your prediction. The second question, they ask how natural selection explains the changes of the numbers of white and ratio. So if you can recall the concept of natural selection, what does it mean? It's based on the nature, right? It means that over time, the individuals that can fit better to the environment will survive, and the other one will just die, have the number decrease over time, right? Yeah, based on natural selection. So if you can show out which one survive and which one dies out over time, the number of the population increase or decrease, that's on the keyword that you need me to mention here to earn the 3 point. So here you can list it out any of these ideas. So if we can say like less predation on the shrews, and the ratios are more difficult to hunt compared to the white one, right? So you can either focus on the ratios or on the white, okay? If we're talking about the ratios, then we can say that the ratios can have a better camouflage, because by doing this, then the hunter cannot find it easy, right? That's why we have more of it survive, more of them survive. And because more of them survive, then you can see what? You can see that it can pass the genes onto the next generation, right? Because it's an advantageous gene, you see? So it can pass the advantageous genes onto the next generation. So you can see that with this kind of question, the idea is always like you try to highlight what is the picture, what is the picture, this is the color. that help them to survive. Okay, you have the features of the individual that survive. You have the keyword survive. You also like mention pass the adventurous gene onto the next generation. This idea can be applicable for any kinds of question, right? As it related to natural selection. So by doing this, you can make sure that you always earn 1 point of this and 1 point of this. So at least 2 points out of the 3 points already. The only customized thing for each question is like identify the features that help that individual to survive. Okay. Then here, oh, and before we move on, just let's see what if you, yeah, here they don't mention anything to be like ignore. So just make sure that you have a look at the mark scheme again. And as here I highlight the 3 options that we can go, that we can also apply for any kind similar question. Scientists had to trap and release the shrews to get the results. Write down safety precaution took when trapping and releasing the shrews. Right. So think about it. They're just like little mice, right? So in order to not get bitten by it, they should wear the gloves, right? And for eye protection, they can also wear the goggle, right? This is something that always like keep repeating between on the question related to safety precaution. Or they can also like wear a whole mask as it mentioned in here. Or they can disinfect the traps to make sure they sanitize the traps so that they don't get any bacteria or from the dirt of the shrew. So you can see that think about this. Put yourself in the position of the scientist when you have to interact with the animal. What could you need to do? So basically these two is one way the thing that also can be applicable to on similar question as well. So once you learn the answer for this question, you can also apply to other question as well. Sounds good? Okay, now let's move on. This is another question about periodic table, about elements, and it's good. You got the correct answer here. So I could say that chlorine at the position like 17, right? If we count hydrogen is number 1, and then we have helium is 2, lithium is 3, barium is 4, boron is 5, carbon is 6, nitrogen is 7, and then oxygen is 8, 9, 10, keep going, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Do I need to remember everything? No. We can just like step one by one. And do you need to do it yourself like this? No either. Because at the end of the question paper set, they will provide you a periodic table as well. So you can just find chlorine here right away at 17. See that, right? It will be on the 3rd row, row 1, row 2, row number 3. So that's on the 3rd row, which means the period 3. And it's also in the column 7 of the main group. So that's group 1A is the main group 2. Usually they also write it like in the Roman numeral, right? 1A, 2A, that's the main group. And now this one is the 7A. If you remember, that's the halogen groups. Okay, so let's come back to our question page again. It's here. Okay, so we know that there should be 17. It means 17 protons in the nucleus. It also means that there should be like 17 electrons. It has 17 electrons to make it a neutral atom. So the first shell only have up to 2, the second one only up to 8, so you got 10 already, right? So what left is just 7. And because that group have 7 electrons on the outermost shell, we also call them as the number of valence electron, right? That the electrons can help the atom to bond with any other atoms, and that's why it's in the 7 group, right? The 7 group A. Usually they write in the numeral this way. group A, the halogen group. Symbol for the atom which have 12 protons in there. Oh, nice. So it's going to be covered and ready. This is the one. So that's magnesium. You got it right. Good. Neon is in the group 8 of the periodic table. This is neon. This is the one. Then we have argon is also in the group 8. That's right. This is argon. This is also the 18. So just one property of argon. So you can see that there's a rule. All the elements in the same group that will share kind of similar properties. So for all the atoms in the last group, group number 8, this is the main group 8, let's check their electronic structure. That would be 2A. Yes, and the last one is A. You can see that A is also a full fill shell as well. That's why they're not in a need to ask for more electrons or to give away electrons. They're happy by themselves, you know. So if they're happy by themselves, there's no need for them to react with any other elements. That's why they stay unreactive. You can also see because they're in the same group. So if you can notice, okay, they're in the same group, so they should be the same property. So you can just put it unreactive. So then they just ask you to list one. So one is good enough. You will get a point. Easy, right? So next time, whenever you see that they give you some hint that it's in the same group, it have like the similar numbers of valence electron, the same numbers of electrons on the outermost shell, then it means they will share kind of similar properties. And here in the mass scheme, they also give you more work here. You either call it like unreactive or inert. And you know what, because they're so noble, you know, they don't like to hang out with anyone, they also name that this group is the noble gas. If you remember, this is the noble gas. Okay, that's the group. They think of them pretty highly, you know, they don't need to hang out with anyone, kinda. And it's also gas at room temperature and colorless if you know more about it. But I could say that unreactive is the best possible answer that we can get some hint from the problem statement itself. Okay, so the key thing is to do this question well is that you need to read the problem statement pretty well. You know, like they will give you some hint out of the problem statement. Okay, so that the first two questions related to populations, to natural selection, and to periodic table. Okay, I will keep going to feedback on other questions soon, but let's have the first part of the video end here. Okay, please let me know if you have any question. Thank you.